Welcome to the submodule on the QNE Community Application Library, or as we like to call it, CAL. You have already heard of CAL in the Introduction to the Quantum Network Explorer platform in the previous submodule. Now we will dive deeper into its workings and learn how to navigate it. The Community Application Library simplifies the sharing of quantum applications within the QNE community. By contributing to the library, you're not just making your work accessible to others, but also gaining access to a wealth of applications developed by fellow community members. In one of the upcoming modules, we'll guide you through publishing your own applications. But first, let's dive into the heart of CAL with this glance at this introductory video.
You are developing your own quantum network application apps. Amazing! But now you want others to use them too. Introducing the Community Application Library, a simple way to share your apps with others. So, how does this work? First, install our Application Development Kit. You can start writing your apps from scratch or use existing Python source code. Then, when your work is finished, you can now publish it on the QNE platform for others to explore. Published applications will appear on your profile page. Visitors can also find additional information like your bio, earned badges, and how to connect with you. In the Community Application Library, you can find all published applications. Everyone can browse through the library and experiment with all apps. Each application card shows a short description of the application, a link to the developer profile, and application details. Visitors can easily execute an application by clicking the Launch button. QNE already uses the most advanced simulator backend for quantum networks. We commit to continue developing new tools and hardware to make it easier to explore, develop, and share. You too can join and connect to the global community of experts. Unlock the power of quantum networks. Explore, build, connect. Go to quantum-network.com.
Now you know it's possible to browse through published applications, run the applications in the online QNE platform, and see profiles of other community members. We will take a detailed look at each of these steps. You can access the Community Application Library through the Explore drop-down menu on the QNE website. In CAL, you can explore a myriad of published applications. Search by names, descriptions, labels, or authors to find what you need. Let's look for applications that showcase teleportation. Note that in this submodule, teleportation is purely an example, but in a later submodule, you will actually learn how this particular quantum application works. Now that we have filtered for applications concerning teleportation, we only see the relevant applications. Each application card displays the most relevant information, such as the title, a short description, author of the application, and the number of runs it's been run. Some applications, such as the first one here, are official applications published by QTech, and they don't show an author. In each application card, you can see two crucial buttons: the Launch App button and View Details button. The Launch button directly opens the application in the online QNE platform. But let's first click on the View Details, which takes us to a page about the application. The application detail page shows a comprehensive overview of the entire application. You can find the title and the short description, the author, and some relevant statistics. There can also be a longer description providing insights into how the application works, what are its expected inputs and results. While this is an optional input by the author of the application, we encourage all developers to properly describe their application because it significantly enhances the sharing experience within the community. At the top of the application detail page, you'll find the Download button, enabling you to download the application source code. This allows you to execute the application locally, or even add your own modifications. This shows CAL's collaborative spirit, as it allows all users to build on the work of others. You will learn how to work with the source code of an application in a later module. If you're the author of an application, you can also see the Edit button, which allows you to modify the displayed description. For now, let's see how we can run an application by clicking the Launch button. We can see here on top of the page that there are 4 steps to configuring an application. If you want to skip those steps, you can click directly on the Run button, which just runs the application with all the default settings. For now, let's take a look at the options we can specify for the application run. Firstly, we can select the network on which the application runs. Let's pick the entire Europe. You can also see which roles are available for the application. We can see that there is a sender role and a receiver role. We can adjust where these roles reside by simply dragging them on the map. Let's assume that we want the application to be executed between Delft and Innsbruck. Now we can move on to the network configuration. For each of the network nodes, you can adjust the fidelity of the gates it executes. And similarly, for each link, you can adjust the elementary link fidelity. In our case, let's adjust the elementary link fidelity between Delft and Innsbruck to a slightly lower value. And then let's move on to the application configuration. The application configuration that you can see here is specific for each application and is actually specified by the application developer. For the case of this particular application, we can decide which state we want to be teleported. We can pick, for example, the plus state and move on to the overview of the application configuration. We can see here all the parameters that are relevant, specifically all the parameters that were changed from the default ones. So we can see where the nodes reside, we can see that we changed the elementary link fidelity, and which qubit state we want to teleport. By clicking on Run, we can run the application. Currently, the application runs on the simulation backend, as compared to, for example, running on actual quantum hardware. That's something you can see here in the top left corner. You can now see that our application finished running. We can either check the results directly, or we can view the process animation. So let's check that out. You can see what's happening in the application. Well, this is not important for now. What's actually important is that you can change the speed of the animation using these buttons. Once the animation's finished, you can click on Next to check the results. This is again something that is different for each application and is specified by the application developer. For this particular app, we can see the corrections that have been applied and a comparison of the state that we wanted to teleport and that was actually received. Now that we have successfully run an application, we can check out what a profile of an application developer looks like. You can personalize your own profile by providing a profile picture, a Slack handle, and a short bio. Furthermore, below you can see all the badges that you've earned and all the applications that you've published. This makes it easy to connect to other members of the community. With this walkthrough, you're now equipped to navigate the community application library efficiently. Stay tuned for our next module, where we'll dive deeper into the quantum key distribution application.